Hey there, 10K Golf family. Hope your week has gone well. I'm excited because I've gotten so much great feedback from you all from last week's video regarding having the same sentiment of fear when it comes to the golf game and executing your shots. So I'm glad to hear that the tip of commitment was very helpful. This week, I don't really have a golf swing tip because, if I'm being honest, I had a lot going on last week after traveling back from out of the country. So I didn't get to hit the course much. But what I did do was focus on getting back into my routine and resting. So that's what I want to talk about is resting. And when I say resting, it's not just going to sleep every night like we typically should do, but it really comes down to mentally resting, emotionally resting, because that's a big key to golf. So when we're playing, especially if we're playing on a regular basis or practicing on a regular basis, which I hope you guys are doing, it is important to give yourself time for rest. And I will just give you some ways that I like to rest. So one of my things of resting is obviously I like to read. I like to make sure I get outside on a daily basis for at least 25 minutes to get some fresh air. I also take some naps from time to time. Not a big napper, but if I can, I'll take a nap. And then I like to do yoga. Yoga is something that I do every morning for 10 minutes and every night because that's something that helps me relax my body for rest, but also in the morning it helps me wake my body up so that I'm not feeling achy. And it's just a good way to get my nervous system in a good place for the day. So I want to encourage you to focus on that. Make sure that you are resting your body. And then from an emotional standpoint, when you're stressed out because of life, they say life be lifing, make sure that you're taking time to emotionally rest. And that can look like a lot of different things. Grounding yourself is something that I've been doing a lot. So putting my 2 feet on the ground, sitting up in a chair, and taking some deep breaths, 10 deep breaths or maybe 5, just doesn't matter how many, as long as you're solely focused on breathing and grounding yourself periodically throughout the day as you deal with stresses. And this is something you can carry on to the golf course when you hit a bad shot, or if you had a string of bad holes, or just have one blow up hole, because that happens a lot, right? Finding ways to ground yourself emotionally so that you don't carry that stress or anger or frustration from the bad hole or the bad shot into the next hole or the next shot. I'll give you an example. I've played plenty of times in my life, but in a tournament, I want to say I started off the day with an 8, or as we call a snowman. And this was a tournament that really mattered. It was my playing abilities test. So PAT, that's what you have to take to become a certified LPGA or PGA professional. So I had to play 36 holes that day because I was doing the PGA certification testing because that was the only thing available at the time. And I started the day off with an 8 on the very first hole. That was a very hard blow mentally because I knew that I had to attain a score around 74, 75. No, I'm sorry. I think it was like 80. So not that low, but around 80, 82 to be able to pass the test for that first 18 holes to qualify for the LPGA. And that's where the emotional grounding techniques really had to kick in because I had 17 more holes to go and then an additional 18 more holes if I wanted to pass the PGA PAT. So having ways of grounding yourself, that could be touching your bag, a song that you like, singing it in your head to kind of change your mood. In college, oddly enough, when I had to wait for my turn to hit and I was feeling anxious, I did cartwheels. It was something silly, but it was something to just get my mind out of the stressful state. And that's not very relaxing, I'll be clear about it, but it was another technique to help with my emotional state. So anything that can help kind of bring you back to your normal self, essentially, is what I want you all to do. And really focus on that this week. So not just related to golf specifically, but related to your life. Find time to ground yourself. Find time in the morning to get yourself in a good mental state. take time to rest when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, 10 minutes to 30 minutes. Make sure before you go to bed at night that you're turning off of your devices and hopefully doing some type of meditation or yoga, stretching of any kind to get your body ready for rest. But make that a priority this week, and let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts. If you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're not, feel free to reply to my email if you're getting this through my newsletter. All right, have a great week, and I look forward to an update next week.